Germano, my name is Ash Singh. How you doing?
Nice meeting you. I am the CEO of Sounds of Things. We are using it to recognizing things visually, but everything has a sound inside. So we have created the sound social media. 100 billion investment in social advertising may flow in audio social advertising. And we have a key factor to accelerate this, like the voice assistants that will bring us to speak to technologies. So all these advertisements may flow in audio advertising, and also Facebook is investing on this, introducing sound content in its platform. So we started to create the social network years ago. Now we need to grow the community, to tell our story worldwide, to grow the community and to evolve the product. And to do this, we need to raise funds to do these two big important milestones for Sounds of Things.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. What do you need, Germano? What do you need?
In terms of funds?
Yeah.
Yes, our calculations say that we need $1.6 million.
Euros?
Dollars, yes. Oh, 1.3 million euros.
Yeah. Oh, euros. Okay, yeah, US dollars. We'll do US dollars. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, and so thank you for going. Your timing was good. Okay. And Germano, where are we joining us from? Where are you calling in from today? Because we're going on a global tour.
In Italy today.
Italy. Okay, so we went from the US. From the US, we jumped over to Lebanon. From Lebanon, we went to New Delhi, and now we are in Italy. Okay.
Yes.
So great to have you join here. Now, let's give some feedback, guys, in the crowd, right? Because Germano, what you're working on is very interesting. Okay. In the sense for me, right? And again, I don't have the years of experience that you have in what you're doing, but what I can say is your timing couldn't be better, right? Investors are looking for team execution and timing, okay? When we think about the use of sound and the value of sound, when you think about, Clubhouse as an app, you think about voice assistants, you think about podcasting, okay?
Yeah.
The attention span for your ears is now changing. As we kind of go into a new world, we start to look at things. It's not audio and video, which is what it's been. Verbal cues, it shouldn't be about, the way I see the future is, it's not about, this podcast is brought to you by Facebook, right? That's a lot of time and a lot of annoyance. What if there was a sound, the Dolby sound,
exactly.
Before you watch a movie, you hear the Dolby sound and you feel something and you like it, right?
Exactly.
You like it, you feel it, you feel connected to the sound, right? And people, when you hear like a tribal call, right? The energy and the excitement around that, okay, makes you connected. Correct?
Yes.
Right? And so this idea of limiting sound in terms of time and creating sound to make you feel what you're doing, what you're experiencing, who you're associated to, is a very powerful thing. Correct, Germano?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You did the example of Dolby Surround, but there is also another one, the Intel Inside, also Netflix. Before every single movie, you see this Netflix sound. So it's audio. Yeah, it's the audio logo. It's the audio logo. Every single brand may have one.
Yes, and so like Netflix and Dolby, the future is going to be like this. Now the question is what I want to know, and again, some people, investors might not all be smart, by the way. Okay. How do you make this work, right? Because the way I see it, right, I see a potential play in terms of the creation, right, the science of the creation of the sound, and then the ad network related to the sound. Do you get what I'm saying? So I am a competitor to Netflix or Dolby. I want to get my sound, and you have the science to know how it feels, and then you actually also have the ad platform, okay, to disseminate, track, and get a sense of people how they're feeling when they hear that sound. So I understand that, but you brought in social network and all the other components. So just for all of us, give us an idea of what the platform is actually doing. Because for me, again, in my limited capacity, that's what I see what you do.
Okay. So the real source that in this global village, the communication is changing. A global village is like the whole village without the limit of the space. So in the whole village, people needed to stay close at the voice distance to be organized. Now we can have the same dynamics of the old village, but without this limitation of the space. We can stay here, you can stay there in your great elevator. We can have the same dynamics of the old village. In this world was born Sounds of Things, where the here is more important than the I. So from this point starts Sounds of Things. Starting from this idea, we thought that the digital, as we know, is changing as well. After years of incubation, is going outside the perimeters of the digital, it is augmenting the reality. In our situation, is augmented the reality with a layer of sound, augmenting the experience. Closing our eyes, we can be in a forest, we can be inside a car, we can be loving someone. So we can change the reality just with sound. And this is really powerful. And to address this feature, we have created contents that stay in specific locations. So we call this GP sound emotion, like GPS emotion. So content that you can listen only in the place where they have been created. And why this? Because the digital is mixing with the real content. I am addressing the retailers' needs to bring people in real place with digital content. You cannot do it like to a shopping window, but you can do similar things like to a GPS sound emotion inside a store, a real store. And also we have created the Sound Village. A Sound Village, like we did in New York with Nutella, is a place full of GPS sound emotion, full of content geolocalized. So we have this mix of audio, augmented reality. We have this mix of reality and contents that are digital content, but are fixed in a specific place. So people need to go in that place. Let's think to the dynamic of a direct chat with people with this kind of content. I drop a message for you here in a mountain or in the middle of the sea, and you need to go there to get this message and to listen in the same scenario, in the same environment where I lived that situation, the emotion that has generated that message.
Got it.
So this,
I understand.
This is the
Germano, my question then, though, right? And again, because remember, investors want to make one bet. Let's just suppose you've been working on this for several years now, right?
Yes.
If you want to go, you need to raise 1.6 million US dollars, right? Part of when you talk to an investor, right? Because I think what you're working on, definitely has you definitely have $1 billion opportunity, okay? But like every $1 billion opportunity, you need to figure out what you're going to go do first and what you're really going to get some commercial viability on. Do you get what I'm saying? So although I think there's a lot of the things that you're doing are cool, I think it's fun, right? Going for a walk, for instance, right? Imagine, you can use your system to go for a walk in New York, okay? And instead of listening to the traffic of everything that's happening, you can go from hotel 1 to hotel 2 and go on a journey where you actually kind of feel the emotion and the sounds of what would have been happening in Manhattan 100 years ago, okay? What are the conversations and the accents and the energy and the birds and all the other components? That's very powerful. but I want to know what is the thing that we're going to go monetize first, right? Because those are the cool things. I want to figure out, because when I think about brands and audio and how they're going to integrate in today's world of an audio-centric universe with no visuals, that's where I potentially see a lot more money in the short term that gives you the capital, because money is great. Money, we need to generate money in order for you to do these other things, right? Just like Google had to sell ads in order for it to create a fantastic Google Maps platform, which it never made money on for several years. So my question is what's that amazing thing now that you can do that's going to help us generate the money? Okay. And I apologize. I don't want to. I'm coming across like an investor. That's my role here. Okay. Right. I love what you're doing. Firstly, I'd love to create more of the cool stuff, but I'm being an investor now. That's my job.
That's a reasonable question. So this happens in the village. When you go in a village, inside the village, you have this content. You can listen to this content, and there is the CPM, so the cost per mil. The impression, like the impression. So more visualization, more fee for us from the owner of the village. We have a portal that we call, this is live today, that is called the Sound Village portal. Is the business portal. A user can log in, can create an account starting from a normal user account, and can create village. Inside that village happens the campaigns. Inside the campaigns, you have content and you have the impressions. Another way to monetize things is the cost per lead. A user can create a content inside that village. For example, inside the Nutella village in New York, if Nutella likes this content, can invite that content to be part of the village. Doing this, inviting this content, the user, the owner of that content, accepting to get inside the village, become a lead for them. So accept to transfer personal information like the email, the phone number, to the owner of the village. And doing this, the owner of the village pay us the cost per lead. So we have the impression and the cost per lead.
Sure. Let me ask you another question.
And we back also 5% to the user. 5% of the lead, of the cost per lead, we turn back this to the user.
Okay, let me ask a question for you. When we think about the sound, the Netflix sound, the Dolby sound, how many Fortune 1000 companies actually have a sound?
I don't know.
Okay.
How many companies? I don't know. That's interesting to know.
Right. The reason I'm asking is this, right? When I think about what you're doing today, I could, one way of looking at your go-to-market strategy, and part of it is just a different soundboard. You and I are connecting, we've known each other for a week, right? A week and a half, right? So we're interacting with each other. My job is to make sure that your business stays alive. That's my job. Okay. My job just to make sure that there's enough money in the bank account for you to do all these things. That's what I would like. Okay. Right. And if my father-in-law was a billionaire, I would like to ask my father-in-law to write you a check right now. Okay. But I don't have that right now. If I could, I would. And so what I'm thinking about, as you're thinking, I'm thinking about monetization now. And I'm thinking, what if, your platform was, the Sound of Things was the next generation ad platform for the Fortune 100 companies or the Fortune 1000 companies, okay? And your platform with all the stuff that you've built, okay, will allow them to discover, create that Netflix-related sound that can be embedded with voice assistants, with podcasts, sound, with Clubhouse, and all these audio-centric elements, catering to the deaf community as well, right? The hard of hearing, right? You have to think about that as well, because there's other elements to that. But making sure you get that done and you become that next generation ad platform for the big players, because those are the guys. If you can do Unilever, right? Like, Old Spice perfume, what is their sound, right? And you want to be that guy that handles all of that. So at the end of the commercial or the beginning of a commercial, ding, okay, I'm ready for a powerful Old Spice funny commercial, okay? But you create that because you have the science, you have the audience, you have all of the intelligence to create something powerful, and you co-own this sound with all these Fortune 1000 customers, and your CPMs and all of your ad network capabilities is powered for them. And when they go and they do an ad right now on a podcast, they have to add your script too, right? So it's like, ding, the sound, and this podcast is brought to you by Facebook, but the sound is always there. And you power that for them. You're an early adopter. You're creating an ad platform, and that is a great business, my friend. That is an awesome business. Okay.
It is.
But thinking about the big players, because when they start off, Germano, you know what they're going to do? They're going to give you $100,000 just to get started. Okay. They might give you $500,000 just to get started. Right?
Yes.
That's what I want. I want the cash flow in. I want to have reputation. I want you to be the best, right? I want you to be, there was a company called Link Exchange back in the day. There was a company called Double Click, right? These are all ad companies when I was young.
Yeah, no, Double Click.
This is what you need to be. The Double Click of the sound industry, my friend. That's what I want for you. We need to get that level. And then everything else falls into place. The small guys are all going to come on board. You're going to have enough revenue to do all the experiments. You could say, listen, I'm just going to sponsor this sound experience, the GP sound emotion experience in New York. Okay? I'm just going to do it. I don't need money for it. Just everyone in New York do it. Okay? Right? That's what I want, Germano. That's where I see the value of what you're doing, because you have this early mover and you're in the right place. Go raise money, and we just go talk to the investors that have gone and given money to these ad platforms. Right?
Yeah.
Talk to the investor who made money on DoubleClick 10 years ago or whenever it was sold to Google. Okay. We just go to them. By the way, I'm doing the DoubleClick for sound. I'd love to have a coffee with you. Okay. Right?
Of course.
I could give you a 10-second pitch. I could give you a 5-second pitch. It's,
okay.
If you knew who these people were, I would just say, hey, you made some money on DoubleClick. I'm doing it for sound. Let's have a coffee.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Germano? Is what I'm saying make sense to you?
Yes, of course.
Right? Part of our session is I'm unbiased to what you're doing. I see the market opportunity, but I want to make sure that you maximize the opportunity right now and you raise the amount of money that you need to. $1.6 million seems low to me with what you're doing and what you've created. Okay? Let's go get a higher raise. Let's raise the valuation.
It's low also to me, but it's based also.
Right.
It's based also on the evaluation that we set.
Yeah. And that's our job, right? At the Hyper Accelerator program, our job is to help you think about what your big picture is and how your 20 million, 30 million valuation should be 100 million, right? That's a secondary point, but we got to think about it. But we need to think about how you're going to become that superstar platform, my friend. Does that make sense?
Also, yes, of course. We are here.
I think you have to pitch back.
Yes, I'm gonna pitch your idea back.
We'll have one more startup to go. Yes,
that's okay. Germano, is it okay if I pitch back? Can I pitch your idea back to you?
Yes, of course.
I'm gonna pitch it back, but I want you to think big. I'm gonna pitch it back based on what you and I just talked about now. If that's okay. All right.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the top, and when you hit the top, you're gonna have to introduce yourself. Wait till I get to the top. You can give me only 60 seconds because you have to hold me to time. Okay. So once I hit the top, you got to introduce yourself. And Germano, you're a rich investor. Okay. Let's get started, my friend. Over to you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Germano. I am a very rich investor. How are you?
I'm very well, Germano. My name is Ashing, and I'm part of the Sound of Things team. As you might know, whenever you watch Netflix, you hear a sound before everything is played. When you watch a movie, there is a sound, the Dolby sound, that activates you, that gets your emotions going. In today's world, we have social networking platforms that are sound only. Everyone's listening to podcasts and voice assistants. Our platform aims to be the ad network of sound. We understand emotion. We've worked on this. We have over 20 years of experience in the space, and we are creating a next generation platform for all the Fortune 1000 companies to create an emotional sound connection for people in the audio sphere. We're looking for $1.6 million to create the next generation DoubleClick. I'd love to chat with you for a coffee.
Great.
Huh? Germano?
Yeah.
Are you gonna
Great.
meet me for a
Great.
coffee? I like Italian coffee, espresso
Yes,
at the gas
yes.
stations.
An
Italian gas
espresso,
station
double espresso.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for, Germano. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
my pleasure, Germano. Love what you're doing. Let's think bigger on this. Okay, right? Next generation sound activated DoubleClick built in Italy. Okay, that's what's going to happen.